Shut up and sit down.
Hey, Milwaukee's on fire. Not literally, but wow, Bucks championship, and then the Brewers are taking over the world. Giannis buys into the Brewers. We've lost a game 7 or 2 in the last few years in that Brewers uniform. As of this recording, the Brewers are almost 30 games above 500. I took a moment to myself the other day going, this is absurd. Usually, you remember, during the 90s, there was a time when the Brewers were already out of it by the time the preseason started. We're on to something special here. What's going on?
Yeah, they're really good. They're like, they used to be sort of like, the acronym for Cubs, right?
No, tell me, please.
Completely useless by September.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
and that just changed my life. I'm writing.
First off, Craig Counsell is a warlock. The things that guy does, right? Like, what are you doing? And they've changed from when they sort of rose to prominence and they with the Fielder and the Ryan Braun and that group where they kind of slugged people to death. Offensively, they're just I don't know how they do it. Offensively, they're not great, but they get enough from enough guys, whether it's Adames or the timely, like Jackie Bradley Jr. is hitting 177, but the one hit he gets every 3 days somehow is meaningful.
I was just thinking about
or he scores.
Does he not make center field look insanely easy? I've never seen somebody play a position. Maybe you have over the years, and you've seen a lot more sports than I have. But the way he tracks balls down and even fakes out cameramen, right? Like, it's incredible.
Yeah, he's as smooth out there. He doesn't remind me physically. He doesn't look the same, but Devon White, who played there for the Angels and who played there for the Jays, I believe, and played for the early Diamondbacks. Devon White was the most effortless center fielder I've ever seen. Lo Cain is great in center field. Obviously, he can go get a bunch of balls, and he's certainly go. But there are times he looks like he's making efforts, right? And then the second he catches that, he turns from this 30-year-old remarkable athlete into a 65-year-old man. He limps. He looks like he needs a wheelchair. He just, he'll run to first like a bullet. And then you see him stand over there and it's like, he needs a walker. He's the most amazing guy between what his full effort is and then in between where he's just shuffling around. But so they've taken this team that is so offensively challenged. They managed to get all the key hits, and their starting pitching now is magnificent, when before you're like, okay, I don't know that they have the starting pitching. Can we get it to the bullpen? Because the back end will be fine between Hader and Knebel and all these guys. And now this year it's the opposite. The starters are just lights out. You're like, we're going to get through 5 or 6 innings, and we're not going to allow a run or 2. If it's more than that, you're just stunned. And then the back end every once in a while now there's, Devin Williams was what he was last year, which was remarkable in that short 60-game season. He was absurd, only allowed a run or 2. So that now worries me a little bit. Do we have enough guys on the back end? Hader anymore just scares the death out of me. I don't know why. Maybe that's just me. He's got a little Rob Nen in him. You probably don't remember Rob Nen. Great closer for the Marlins and then for the Diamondback from the Giants. But he was he'd get all 3 outs, but there'd be a walk, and then there'd be a fielder's choice, and the guy's at second, and then he'd steal third, and then there'd be a fly ball, and and he'd get out of it, but it was never 1, 2, 3. There was always a little CPR in it. Hader's starting to remind me of that. There's always a little CPR finish with him. And his stuff's ridiculous. I'm like, why don't you just throw it down the middle? See if anybody can hit it.
Yeah, but when they catch up to him, that ball goes a really long ways.
Yeah, there are guys that have turned it around on him more than once. And I think he's a little bit better this year. So I worry a little bit about the bullpen and the back end. But the starting pitching is unbelievable. We get Peralta back right now, right? He's got a little shoulder problem because he had to swing the bat. But I think that starting pitching gives them a chance all the time. And because of that starting pitching, they don't need to go score 6 and 7 runs. I think they have an unbelievable confidence in each other and in Counsell that he'll put them in the right spots. and somehow they keep eking out wins, or they're literally one of these teams that's just never out of it, man. They use every single one of those 27 outs. They're in really great shape, but I think that is, a tribute to Counsell on the top step, man, because that guy just, and we had Yelich on SportsCenter one day, and I sort of proposed that same thing to him. I'm like, what is it? How is it Counsell pulls this off? And he's like, I don't know, but I told him I got 7 years left on my deal, which means he's got 7 more years left to manage this ball club.
Wow.
And so I think it just shows you sort of the respect he has of all the guys in that room. And then he's got a championship pedigree, man. He's scored winning runs in World Series.
Every time the Brewers put out something on social media, some sort of hype video, or some sort of like, hey, we're here to stay, or you can't count us out, or this ball and glove logo is for you, I damn near get choked up. I mean, that's how amazing this stuff is for me and the Brewers, because I remember, I have a photo of it. My wife took a photo. 2008, when they made it to the playoffs, was the first time in my lifetime that they were in the playoffs. They didn't start the team until 1970. If you had to choose, John, I know my answer, but another Super Bowl, another NBA championship, or a Brewers World Series, what do you choose?
Listen, I'm all in on the World Series. That's where I would have gone before the Bucks won the championship, before the Packers beat the Steelers. As much as it was great to live and grow up that close to Lambeau Field, I've always been more of a baseball kid. I love baseball. I copied down, the agate of the Brewers players out of the Sunday paper when the Press Gazette would come, just so I could keep track and see what they did week to week. My dad used to always take me to Brewers games on my birthday. It's one of my fondest memories. We'd go down on a Friday, we'd see a night game, and then we'd stay and see a Saturday day game back when they did that. And so I have always been 100% in on the Brewers over everybody. That would be my favorite Wisconsin team, with the exception of maybe the Badger hockey team when they were in their prime. But so I grew up, I grew up and loved those guys. So I would dearly love to see that. I had my heart broken in '82. They lose the World Series, right? And then where do I end up going to school? Right next year, I go in fall to Missouri, and just a dorm full of Cardinal fans, right? It was my roommate was from the Southeast Missouri. He was down the Boot Hill. And so he used to love to listen to Cardinals. And I actually developed kind of an affinity for him, listening to Jack Buck in the dorm room every night when we did that. You're like, wow, he's really good.
Right.
And they had some great teams under Whitey Herzog, which was fun. And then, when I first started in professionally in the journalism school, and I was working at the NBC station there, I was there at some of their games when they won a division crown. I still had that press pass, champagne soaked somewhere from sneaking by Doggy Lynch, the clubhouse attendant, even though I didn't have the right pass to get in the locker room. But this is where old reporters help the younger guys. He's like, just give him a few times. Awesome. He'll drink 3 beers. You'll walk right by him. And lo and behold, that's what happened. I went and throw Doggy it down a few of the Anheuser-Busch products, and in I went.
That's awesome.
So I would love to have the Brewers win the World Series. That would be, I would buy all the merchandise, right? Like
all of it.
Right when it comes out, right after, and they're like, be the first. I'm like, who buys that? That would be me. Helpful critiques, ideas, great stories, people we should know, the great bar in your town, the fish fry you want to know, the fish boil, anything that you want to reach out to us with. We are happy. We are here. You can be the inputters. We're here to listen.
Shut up and sit down.